All right, we're live.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Hopefully,
So, there
chat
appears
room's
to
out there.
be some disruption in the Android phone market, if some of the articles are to be believed out there.
There is some disruption. Let me get the audio set.
All
Let me
right.
do. This is fine. We hope. Do I need? I guess I have a frame of reference here, right? With G2, which you should never read an on tech if you're planning on buying the G3.
Oh, I do like their reviews though, and I've read a lot about the G3, and that is why I have not purchased one.
I know, and that's why I was like, maybe I'll just use this thing.
hmm
Maybe I'll just go
I
go for
think I think you have
and wait it
something a
out.
little bit better in your hands.
All right, let's pull the trigger on the audio. Chat room, if you have questions, I'm going to try to get to the questions. I don't know because we're doing something completely different here tonight, so hopefully I can pay attention. Thank you very much for watching. Here we go. It'll be 3, 2, 1, click, and the audio will be on. 3, 2, 1.
The disruption of the Android phone market. That's been all over the news lately, Dave.
It has, and by like this most unorthodox method.
Yep. Um, it's hard to know what the impact really is uh, when a new phone maker arrives that has the backing and the support of the tech industry. Normally, it takes years, right? You'll hear a company in China, Taiwan, Korea. You'll hear a name, and then you might not hear it again for 3 years. ZTE, Huawei, right? These are all companies we may have heard of a few years ago, then kind of forgot about. They're starting to come back now. But one name, one name in particular, we didn't hear about till
No,
recently,
no pun intended, right?
and we hear about it repeatedly. And not to confuse things, but the name of the company is OnePlus. That's one word, OnePlus, and their first device is known as the One, not to be confused with the HTC One. And you
Right.
are one of the lucky few, very lucky few, and I know because I've been trying since day one, that might have been able to get their hands on one of these devices.
You know, I don't even know how I did it. I think I put my name in their forums or something. And when I first got the email, John, I thought it was a hoax. I just thought, you get so much junk in your email. It said you have won like a blizzard of invites or something. And it wasn't an invite. It was just you have won. Stay tuned. It seems like that's the mantra for OnePlus.
Yeah, it's very unique, and I think we should talk about that at some point about how they've tried to get the word out there about the phone. Some have been angry that they've targeted tech aficionados, bloggers, but that's separate from the invite system. So there's an invite system. Every time it opens up, you need to visit this website, log in with your OnePlus One account or your Facebook account, and then usually complete a few tasks. So post in the forums, like them on Facebook, like them on Twitter, retweet, do a few other things. It depends. The more you do, the more invites you receive. I've done this every time I've been able to,
You
and
know
have
what's
not
going to
won.
piss people off? Is I guarantee you I did one.
Yeah.
I probably tweeted it, John. I probably didn't do much more than that. Because I just do it. I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to get this, but hey, I tried. Hey, I
Yeah.
tried. I didn't enter 5,000 times. If that should
No,
worse.
and you could. do things like share the link with your friends, and I'm sure some people signed up for multiple accounts and retweeted, relinked, and did things like that. But they are in the middle of handing out 5,000 additional invites in the next 24 to 48 hours. But right now, there's no way to just purchase one without overpaying. There are sites which do trouble some people that do resell this phone. And of course, there's eBay, Craigslist, things like that.
Correct. So I got an invite, and then I had to pony up the cash, which I did. I would turn it down. I don't care if it was on, Taiwan's network. I wanted to see it.
Now, the cash is a big deal. I hope you don't mind if we talk about the price of this
No,
device
absolutely. I mean,
because that's the
that
game
is
changer.
the big deal. And I was going to ask you, John, after you say this, is this what the game changer is all about?
Yes. It is a flagship phone at non-flagship pricing. So, for reference, the Nexus 5 is $349 or $399, and that's considered a steal in the Android market for the specs that that phone offers. The OnePlus One starts at $299 and goes up to $349. Offers much more storage at that $349 price point, and is perceived to be a well-reviewed phone. It's perceived to be a flagship killer, a flagship quality device. They compare it to the G3, the S5, and the HTC One.
The one I purchased, I won the right to purchase, was 64 gig, and it was $350. Now, one thing that was kind of crazy is, and this comes up time and time again with OnePlus, is like it's like a hurry up and wait type process. So I paid my money, and the email said that these would be shipped within 3 days. 3 days came and went, and there was no phone. And then I got another email saying, "Hey, we're having trouble. We're going to push it out like 2 weeks." And then I got the update. I mean, update. I got the phone about 3 days later. So they were saying it's going to be, hey, it's going to be, another week and a half, maybe two. But I
Right.
ended up getting it pretty quick. Now, what pissed me off is I paid when they said we will ship this phone in 3 days. I paid for upgraded shipping, so I didn't get my upgraded shipping back, but I got the phone, so I'm not pissed. So I'm out about 365.
And I'm assuming the shipping was the delivery method, not the prioritization of the shipping. I'm assuming it came next day, 2 day,
Yeah,
just like a ground scenario.
it came in a it wasn't in a box. That was kind of weird. So when it arrived, I didn't think that was the phone. I just thought it was, something I'd gotten from Amazon, but it was in a bubble envelope, a yellow bubble
Oh
envelope.
wow.
Brown box inside, separate, another smaller box. So it was really weird shape, and so I was really surprised when I ripped it open, and then
And then it was the OnePlus. So let's start there because what's really setting this company apart in the interviews that they've given, the reviews, is the quality. They are focused on quality. They want no sacrifices to be made. They don't want any regrets to be made. They want to say that we went all in with a quality device at an affordable price point. So I've seen and heard that that starts with the packaging, not so much the
it
outer
does.
packaging, as you said, it was a bubble wrapper, but the inner packaging. So why don't you walk us through that, and then that'll kind of spear us off into the quality aspect, and then you can go right into that initial in-hand quality feel
Right.
and all those good things.
And we'll have to remember that we're on audio, and even though you and I are watching the packaging, that we'll have to, be explaining this. So I've got this flat brown box in front of me, and it almost reminded me of an Amazon experience where you have just very plain packaging. And when I got the phone, I thought that was going to be the case. It was going to be just a brown bag. That's why this thing is so cheap.
It
Now,
looks like a frustration-free package from Amazon, and it looks like it would be a Kindle,
correct.
a
Exactly.
low-end Kindle Paperwhite type
Exactly.
box. Because in fact, I actually bought
Except
one of those on sale the other day.
it has a pull tab here, this OnePlus One pull tab. And this irked me to begin with because I'm one of those package Nazis. I will save every twist tie, I will save every piece of plastic, and I will put it back together in case I ever have to sell it. I put it like so whoever buys something from me will unwrap it like it's brand new from the store.
Yep.
That's just how I am. So I was kind of irked that I had to, rip off the pull tab and open the box. But so be it. Then I was really surprised.
Beautiful.
I had this gorgeous packaging inside, and we're gonna
So
get
it
rid of
is
it.
a extremely white box, and red is the color, at least for now, that OnePlus uses as the
Right,
accent color for their advertising, their logo.
right.
But it does not look like a phone. There is no way if you showed this box without a label to someone would they ever think it was a phone.
No, this would be a box that would have maybe a hotspot in it or something. It's it's
Yeah.
it's very hefty, very thin, and very good looking. It has kind of a seatbelt type pull tab to open it up. And when you open it up, it doesn't reveal the device instantly,
Mm.
and it's hard. It's
And so now they flip and they go red as the primary color and white as the accent color.
right. And I hate to say Apple-esque,
Hmm.
but like the thickness of this cardboard and this box is it's really nice. If you're a geek, packaging geek, you're really gonna
Yeah,
like this
right now this
experience.
reminds me a little bit more of the Beats headphones that I bought recently.
Okay.
This is the style. So, and when I opened the Beats, I said they were very Apple-like. So there are obviously more companies out there than just Apple, but it's definitely a high-end uh, package.
Right. So now the other box that was loose in the packaging is right here, John.
Hmm.
So I ended up opening this first. Now it's very bright white. I know it's hard for you to see, but it had a piece of circle tape that was applied to both sides, so you could push it open and break that seal. But when you open it, it was actually like that. So it's the charger. Now there wasn't a cable there, so I start trying to take this thing apart, but it's the States American charger. There, it doesn't bend, it doesn't fold. It just has the USB.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and it's in the same packaging style as this was. Very high end, very nice corners. So open this up. It kind of opens to me wrong, left to right, but
You're right. Yep.
kind of like reading a magazine in Japan. They read backwards, sort of. So you got the logo, the OnePlus, and the phone was front and center, just right there, front and center. So it had a lift tab in order to get the phone out, and I'll just do that because the tab is still in there. So it has a lift tab, and it has the IMEI sticker that was on the phone itself. And that's it for this layer. And then there was a second layer in here. Now I was unable to perfectly put the cable in, but it has a USB cable, and it has a SIM tool that looks like no other SIM tool.
That thing is
Um,
awesome. So it looks like a keychain and like a
it's outer.
looks like a very very small Swiss Army knife
It
shape.
does.
Uh,
Outer casing is rubber,
yeah,
a feel good rubber, and inside is the SIM tool.
beautiful.
So
That is,
it slides in there. It
I
slides
actually
in there
have a
real nice.
SIM ejector on my keychain, but of course I'm worried about it getting bent. That is perfect for the keychain to always have your SIM tool with you.
Yeah. Now I haven't seen a USB cable with this much attention to detail in a long time.
No, it is a flat style. So if you're familiar with headphones with a flat cable, so it's anti-tangle. That's what
Right.
it is. R-
It has a
Red and white
OnePlus
again.
logo Sorry, it has a OnePlus logo here on the plug. It is flat style. The USB is kind of that open format USB, and it has the same feeling rubber uh, enclosure here, built-in zip tie um, to get that apart. Now the USB is, I think, John, that you thought maybe it was some type of proprietary, lightning cable type, but
I think it's when I
I'm trying
saw
to
the.
show it to you
I think
here.
it's when I saw the open style of the full size USB end that confused me
Okay,
because I'm not used to seeing that. It looks like one of those really thin credit card USB flash drives
right.
would have that kind of connector.
So it goes in there real nice. What I
Mm.
haven't tried to do is I don't recall if I've thrown this phone on a different charger or not. I'm 100% certain it would be just fine. So there's your packaging geek walkthrough, and then of course the phone. It's called Sandstone Black, John.
Yes, sir.
And should I just leave it right here for you to look at?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the back. I'm tired of the shiny, I'll call it the Samsung plastic. That is a fingerprint magnet, but more so it's a oil magnet, very slippery. It's kind of gooey. But we've seen manufacturers try to move away from that, including Samsung, to other forms of plastic that always either end up looking like fake leather or a driving glove. LG will try to do an aluminum finish now. But this is really unique for the back of a phone. And this company will be allowing you to personalize the back of your phone eventually. In fact, they just announced today a bamboo style back as for an extra cost, of course. But I think this is a very unique back in itself, just because it comes stock, with the
Yeah.
device like that.
I don't even know if I can show you, but it has that rough feel to it. I don't even know how to explain it. I know
It's
you've
kind of
you've done a lot
coursey,
of reading. Yeah, it's got a coarse feel to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel plasticky. It doesn't feel like metal. It doesn't feel overly fancy. But
No.
you're right. It's not this right
No.
here, which
Which is
this
a mirror.
yeah, the mirror gloss black finish, which I just do nothing but wipe it in my shirt. It's just
Yeah.
like the front face. I'm always having to wipe this thing down because it just drives me nuts to have it all goopy. That's a G2, by the way. Um, so it's a 64 gig device, and let's just go over the options. On the top, you get the headphone. You got a microphone. On the left side, you've got the SIM slot right here, a volume rocker. These protrude out, not a whole heck of a lot, but you can feel them when you need to. On the bottom, you got stereo speakers, and I assume maybe a noise canceling, or I mean that's the voice mic,
Hmm.
and this would be on the top mic would be voice canceling, and then on this side there's a power button. On the back, I don't even know how many microphones this thing has, John. You
It
probably
it
do.
has three mics, so there's the third.
So there's the third there, and then you've got the flash and camera, and supposedly the back comes off. And I have yet
Do
to.
not take it off.
Okay.
We can talk more about that later. But yeah, it does come off, but you have to remove the SIM tray. It has like, I don't know if you ever took apart a Mac Mini. It has the plastic teeth inside of it, like 20 plastic teeth, and you're
Hmm.
supposed to get a spatula and bend the teeth and not break them. That's basically what it's like to open the OnePlus One back.
Okay. And
So
these are dual mono. I think I said stereo.
no, they are
Supposedly they're stereo.
dual stereo,
Okay.
but we can confirm that later.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's what they say. They say that they are dual stereo speakers, which is why it's a nice plus. Some times you just have two holes and it's one speaker or it's two speakers playing the only the mono channel. So
Hmm.
we'll see. But how does the in hand feel? I've heard there isn't any sort of creaking. Um, it's Gorilla Glass 3 on the top, so it will get very few thick scratches or scratches that go really deep. It will scuff, unfortunately, to be resistant to the deep scratches. It does pick up faint scratches much easier. But what's your in hand feel there?
I thought holding the phone was fine. I come from the G2, and it is not that much bigger. The G2 is a 5.2 inch, and this is a 5.5. And it was very comfortable. Now, granted, it's larger, so one-handed is still
Right.
difficult. And I almost felt like this 5.5, I was almost in the area of mini tablet, where I could hold it like this, and I could game, and I could do different things with it. Um, the, as for looks, the only thing that I really didn't like about it was I thought it just kind of has a cheesy silver bezel on it, where it kind of gets wider at the top and bottom.
Yep.
So I thought it was kind of flashy. I don't really do I don't like the flash.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see why they did that because not much else about the device is flashy.
Yeah,
Um,
if it was a deep black, a jet black, I think I would be just perfect.
right, and of course that is probably something that will scratch up over time, like it does on the Samsung devices and
Yeah,
similar. So
and yeah, if they had it black, it would probably scratch to
right.
silver. So it would be something that
So
wasn't.
you don't feel that it's too large for those people who can't see. It did not look much bigger than a G2, but when I watched comparison videos of that and all the recent flagships, including the Oppo Find 7, we'll probably talk a little bit about Oppo later, and then the G3 and the S5 and the HTC One M8, it's not much larger than those phones, and it does have a larger screen than most of those phones. It just isn't as small as the G3. Which has very thin bezels for the size of its screen.
It does.
But
It
it
does.
looks great. I mean, it really looks nice. Um,
In hand, I thought it was fantastic.
yeah,
I I've gone to the bigger phone. I've moved on.
yeah,
You couldn't get me into a 4S if my my life
right.
depended on it. So
So we talked about that. So for those who don't know, it's a quad core Snapdragon 801, fully clocked at 2.5 gigahertz. There are some 801s out there at lower speed. It does have 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is key because unlike other flagships that are skinned, this device is not really skinned. It runs a version of Android 4.4 from the Cyanogen Mod team. It's known as the 11S version. It's basically Cyanogen Mod 11 with a little bit of extra functionality, which you're going to talk to us about later when it comes to theme engines and some of the settings. It has all the goodies that you would expect. Again, you have the 64 gigabyte model. It has the dual band Wi-Fi, so 2.4 and 5 gigahertz, all the way up to AC, Bluetooth 4.0, GPS, a compass, a 1920 by 1080 screen, which will give you 401 ppi. The flash is a dual LED. We didn't really touch on the camera. I figured we will get to that later, but it is a 13 megapixel Sony sensor, and if you know anything about Sony sensors, you'll know that they are used in the best of the best camera phones that are out there today. The front camera is a 5 megapixel camera. I like that a lot. Not so much for selfies, but it's very probably much better of a selfie phone than some others. But for Skype and for Hangouts, and if you are ever going to use those things, it's nice to have a high quality camera. And you can record 4K resolution video with stereo sound recording, as well as slow motion video at 720p, 120 frames per second.
correct.
So it does have all the specs of a $600 to $700 phone, and you can pick up this phone for as little as $349.
If You are so lucky. I have seen the going price on eBay is about $500, so which is
Which
still a pretty decent
yep,
deal.
I believe that it is, especially because if you want a 5.5-inch screen, which I feel is almost a sweet spot, if you want 3 gigabytes of RAM, if you don't want a skin phone, and I will talk about the battery here, although you might want to get into real world later, but it has a 3100 milliamp. The only phone of a flagship caliber that has a bigger battery is the Sony Z2. They are saying the battery on this phone is even better than the LG G2 from last year, which you also have. There are rumors that you could go 16-hour days, 17-hour days with this phone. And there are reports of screen on time, which is very important to me, of 6 to 7 hours of on screen time. I am lucky to get 4 hours of on screen time with a lot of the devices that I use. I would love to know that I could get 6 or 7 hours of on screen time.
Oh,
So that pretty much wraps up the specs. If you want to get into using the phone and how you've been using it, and then maybe how those specs have shown to mean something or not mean something to you,
okay. And
knowing
I'll
that you're
just
coming from the LG G2 and previously Windows phones and Android devices.
Yeah, and I need to just be fully upfront. Anybody watching this on YouTube, we're probably going to get a bunch of downvotes on the clarity. That's a Mac's fault, and this is primarily done for audio. So, and I also have not activated the SIM in this. I am on Verizon, and so I now you can pity me, and that's why the video is so bad. Is because I'm on Verizon. But I've been toying back and forth between a G3 or activating this, and maybe that's a different conversation. But something that I've really, sorry, I keep getting tweets, really grown used to is the G2, and it's probably cool to show them side by side like that. But the G2 has an awesome feature. What I think it's awesome is knock on to turn it on, and the um, the OnePlus does as well.
Beautiful,
And
and it worked the first time, which is nice. Sometimes it's when
you
you
know what
want to show off those features, it's tough.
I found when I first got the G2 that I did have trouble with it. But notice how I just found a blank spot and I just knocked it off, and bam, um, they've done something, and I haven't had any issues on the G2 either. When I first
And
got it, I did.
we will probably reference the G2 a lot, not only because that's a phone that you have, but it's still regarded as one of the best smartphones out there. There's even some that feel the G2 is a little bit stronger of a candidate than the G3 when comparing smartphones. So if we do compare it a lot to that, there's a reason for it. It's a great phone to compare it to that originally was a $600 phone and now may be in the 550 range or so. Um, but that's a
Mm,
beautiful screen that you have there, and of course that's not a lock screen that I've seen before. So I have a feeling that's a little bit to do with the slightly customized version of Cyanogen mod that's
right.
installed on there.
And I don't know if you want to help me with white balance or anything. This is driving me crazy that this camera.
Yeah, it was. We've lost some quality of our video since we started broadcasting. You're a little bit choppier as well as you were before, so it's hard for me to be too picky.
That's probably Netflix playing in my house. We'll blame it on Netflix. Um, yeah, the video, you're just gonna have to go by description,
Yeah.
and for the most part, there's a lot of links out there where you can get this the experience of the phone. It looks better now. It's kind of clearing out. But if you noticed, it was very easy to just tap, knock on, and it's just a slider. If you're a Windows Phone kind of person, you're used to sliding down to wake it up, and it pops it right in here.
Wow.
Completely different experience because of the cyanogen mod. There's a lot of little things that are different. Um, my Twitter has been going off all night long, so you can see that I've got a lot of stuff going on up here. And the reason I'm kind of double duty is I have Talon and Tweedle both installed on the phone because I'm trying to decide between one or the other. So that's kind of doing double duty.
Two very high quality Twitter apps. So
Yeah, and I
well
paid
done
for
there.
Talon, so I'm trying to use that one.
Yep.
But so I know you're going to have questions for me, and I'm going to give you the I'm coming from an LG G2 experience, which is probably going to be a lot different from anyone else. But I want to go ahead and talk about what I am used to, and I am used to soft buttons on the bottom. If you're a Samsung user, you're probably not used to soft buttons. You're used to your big button, and I think it has an additional soft buttons. Does it, or does
Yes,
it
it is.
have?
It is two additional soft buttons that are reversed from every manufacturer. The back button's on the right, and the multitasking button, formerly known as the menu button, is on the left.
Okay. Now, something that I've found that I really like with LG's way of doing it is they let you move these buttons around, these soft buttons around. So you can see I have a back, I have a home. I get in texts. I'll let that. I have home, then I have settings, and then I have my drawer. So in one-handed mode, I've got this little arrow. I can pop down the drawer and
Very
pop
cool.
it back
Yeah.
up.
And for the record, that's one of the only OEMs that actually allow you to do that. It's a very nice feature that LG provides, full customization. And on the G3, you can go even further with the customization of those buttons. But the OnePlus One has its own customizations when it comes to on-screen buttons, and maybe even offers non-on-screen buttons.
Right. Now what it's going to be hard for you to see it here, but you do have what's been called the hamburger, the settings, the three lines.
Mm-hmm.
So that has gone ahead and put the whole phone into settings mode, which is a little different than your Android phone, but you can look at your different screens. You can do the scrolling effect, widgets, wallpapers, and settings all with that one button. You have your home button, so it's in the middle. That's not going to throw you off any. But your back button is in this bottom corner, which I'm completely not used to. I'm used to my back button being across my thumb
The
if I'm
Samsung
right-handed.
style, yeah.
Samsung
Um,
style.
so what happens if you hold those buttons? They should trigger other events.
Yeah, they do. They do different things here. So home just sends you back to your.
To to Google now.
Yes. Um, sends you that. Sorry, it showed what I've been shopping for on Amazon, and it was an
We
embarrassing.
we could not see that, so don't worry. It may or may not have been a hose. That's all I saw.
No, it was for a pregnant sister-in-law. It was
Uh,
an item for a pregnant
okay.
sister-in-law. So we
All right.
don't
And
need to do
and
that.
if you hold the back button,
We hold the back button. I don't
nothing.
get
And if you hold
there.
the hamburger, hope you'll get your
Hold the
multitasking.
hamburger.
There you
Yeah, you
go.
get your multitasking screen, which took me a while because on the LG
And
it's the home button.
and
But
CyanogenMod does offer something stock Android does not, is one button at the top right to clear all, which LG, Samsung, HTC all offer, but Google refuses to put into their stock Android experience. So it is very nice to see that.
I do
Um,
like the clear all,
yep,
and not only so that was clear all open apps,
yep,
but Cyanogen gives you that in the drawer as well.
yep. Very
Um,
nice.
so that is confusing. That's hard to get used to. But think of it this way: I got used to this, the LG with the buttons on the back. If I
Right.
can get used to this, I can get used to this. I'm going to complain about it the whole way. But
Now, but you don't have to get used to that, do you?
no, you don't. I don't know if I can find it, John. But in
That's okay.
settings,
So I will say, while Dave takes a look, CyanogenMod is settings overkill. So there is no easy way to find settings. They're all over the place. Some of them are twice, and I bet some that you'll find you'll never be able to get back to again. But what Dave's showing us now is you can enable the on-screen buttons, and you could also disable the capacitive buttons or have both at the same time. So you definitely have options here. And now it's closer to the layout that Dave should be familiar with.
it is. Now, let me go ahead and show you not my personal stuff. How about we do Messenger?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's nothing personal in your
Nah,
chat. Oh,
there's
it's me.
nothing.
Look at that.
Um, So I'll bring up. Wow, they must have maybe Messenger fixed this. What I had found, John, was that these soft buttons were interfering with
Mm-hmm.
Swift key, and maybe Swift key fixed that. I don't know,
Sure.
but it was interfering it. Now I have changed to the Swift key keyboard. I believe I'm on Swift key.
At the angle you're holding it, I couldn't tell. It looked very much like a stock keyboard, so I couldn't tell exactly what you
Yeah,
had there.
it's kind of like that's kind of like my first app. When I get the
Sure.
phone, bam, Swift key
And
goes on it.
Swift key is now free for the most part, so it's great to find. I think there is an advantage to finding a keyboard like SwiftKey because you can install it on all your devices. Otherwise, you have to go learn the LG keyboard and the next year the Samsung keyboard, the Google keyboard. So it is nice to find a keyboard that you appreciate and love it. So there are a lot of settings there. In fact, I think the setting that changes your full screen mode might help you with some of those key display issues. But he's showing us the settings menu now, and I mean there's so much stuff in there right now. So would you say it's a little overwhelming to come from something like LG? So I will say a lot of OEM skins, whether we love them or hate them, are there to help you, especially users that are new to Android or new to a high-end Android phone. But kind of here, you kind of have to either roll with it how it comes out of the box, which is a very stock clean experience, or you're going to start, hunting and pecking and really changing your experience up. So how have you found that uh, so far?
There's there's a lot of settings. I mean, there's a lot of settings, and you get to the point where like, well, yeah, I don't need a lot of this. But just like this setting here with this on-screen nav bar at the bottom, it's like, man, if you're going to give me that, why don't you let me play with it? Why don't you let me move things around? So it's hit or miss on.
Now, there are third-party apps that you can install that
Okay.
will allow you to do that. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, so I will send you a link to one later. And
Usually,
normally you would have to root your phone, mod your phone, flash your phone. The good news is you don't have to do all of that. So this is definitely a phone for people that want to play around uh, and try new things.
usually, when I do bring up something like that, someone says, "Yeah, there's an app for that," and I know. And what I'm trying to do is use the basic experience of the phone as much as possible. And I tried and I tried to do it without SwiftKey, and then I had to have SwiftKey. So,
Yep,
but interface is also expanded desktop,
yep.
enable you to hold the sleep button to force full screen mode. I don't know what that means, but
So there are applications, especially like a game, that you will play, and it will not get rid of those soft touch buttons, the on-screen buttons, and so you're losing that half an inch of screen real estate. So they've added this feature where you can force expanded desktop. So you can always make sure that you get true full screen. So if you have soft buttons enabled, half the time you'll get to see the full screen, half the time you won't. But they're allowing you to kind of force that. Um, and now it looks like you have abilities to set all sorts of gestures and button presses, and so you can certainly have some fun
and
customizing.
I'm getting told that I can move those buttons around. So I would just have to find it. And that's I think some of the things that you come into going from an Android experience, especially when your hand is held as much as it is by
Hmm.
LG, and coming over here to Cyanogen. And I'm not complaining because I like it. I mean,
Yep.
at the end of the day, I really like being able to change things around. So
But there is a reason why LG and Samsung skin their devices. It's not just to differentiate. That's a big reason. But part of it, especially when they were competing with the iPhone more directly, they needed to make Android a little bit more user friendly than it is. Because you're looking at the settings menu. That's a stock Android settings menu. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, you could scroll some of these pages forever and just have all these different settings on it. But how are you enjoying using the phone? How's the performance? and then kind of tell us about the battery life if you have any early feelings there. I know you don't have your SIM in it, so it's probably not going to be a great test of battery. It's basically you're basically using it as a Wi-Fi tablet right now. Uh, but what do you think?
And I just went to expanded desktop
Yep.
as we speak, and I did not know that I could do that. So
Yeah,
that
that's the
that's
one I
pretty.
was trying to tell you about. So you can actually leverage the full screen, and then I believe if you swipe up, you can get your on-screen buttons back. Maybe not. Oh,
Okay, was
swipe down. Okay.
swipe down. And you know what? I bet you can change that
Even
too.
I didn't know. Yeah, even I didn't know.
Okay, so it's just see that would probably annoy me, but that's cool.
Right.
It's just something that I
Yeah.
can't say if I like that or not. But um, well, the thing is powerful. I have not thrown anything at it that I can't do, although I haven't done any kind of major gaming. I don't game on the phone a lot. I have been wanting to start playing. Gosh, I hate to even admit that I play Boom Beach on iOS, but and it wakes up. I just got another tweet, so
Yeah.
there's a chat going on somewhere with my name in it, and it keeps waking up. So gaming, I can't tell you, but I know that um, it's rock solid. It performs very well, and I haven't had any complaints over performance,
Yeah.
screen changes,
Yeah.
animation, wipes, flipping through photos, in anything like that. There's been nothing that has disappointed me. Um,
Do you use Bluetooth?
I do,
Any Bluetooth issues
I
in the
do.
car, phone, watches,
I
stereo
haven't
speakers,
expanded it
whatever?
to any watches,
Okay.
to the Pebble that I have, but I, I I can't complain.
All right.
I can't complain, and I know that that's a loaded question because it's going to depend on, your car or the speaker that you're hooking it up to. There's all kinds of issues with that,
Oh,
but
sure. Yeah, and sometimes it takes time. I've had devices where I love them when I first get them, and then after a month, I'll find out one out of every 5 times it won't connect to my car automatically, or it constantly drops the connection to my Pebble whenever it's in a bad mood. Um, but
I think you set the tone early when you compared it to when you said flagship.
yeah.
Uh, I think that you're going to see that it's pretty much across the board. It performs as well, if not better. And I tell you one thing that I was just blown away, pleasantly surprised. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'll start one on my phone and I'll set it down and I'll do something that's, maybe noisy. I'm flipping through something. Maybe I'm tearing something up at the sink, or, I'm doing some kind of work in the house. Or I start the podcast. I don't flip over to Bluetooth. I set the phone in the cup holder and you don't even think about it. You just listen to it and you're like, God, I cannot hear this. That's not the case with this phone. This phone's speaker is freaking amazing. It is crisp and loud. I could not I couldn't believe the loudness that I got out of this speaker.
Right.
These two little speakers here on the bottom. It blew me away. I was
That's
really
great to
happy with
hear.
that.
Um, no, that is great. It's hard to find that in a phone, especially at this price point, and even at the high end. A lot of manufacturers, LG, unfortunately, and Samsung, put the speaker on the back, so you got to put the phone upside down if you want to hear it or something like
Hmm.
that. But I think that's fairly good placement for the speakers. If you were a heavy gamer, you would probably find that your hands were blocking the speaker sometimes. Um, but yeah, it's amazing. And do you know um, any signs of feelings or how they get to this price point? Or and then they didn't even cut corners on the packaging. I mean, they have to be losing money just on the packaging alone. It seems hard to believe that you can do this for let's say $300. If this was a consumer-facing device that wasn't in like a Best Buy, everyone would be buying the 299 model, right? So it really is a $300 phone. For $50 more, you get 3 times as much storage, or I'm sorry, 4 times as much storage. It's hard to believe that there's a 64 gig model for only $50 more. No one else does that. But I mean, this is a $300 phone. The only other $300 phone I've seen recently is like the Motorola X when it's on sale, um, which is, I mean, night and day difference, performance-wise, the battery life-wise, screen quality-wise. But I mean, do you know how they're able to do this for $300?
Well, I mean, this could. The only thing that I can think of is, Samsung put billions of dollars, marketing dollars, behind their Galaxy, and when people come in and want an Android phone, it's a Samsung. When people want, they call Coke, a general name Coke, or
Right.
Kleenex is a Kleenex. It's that whole thing, and I think Android is now Samsung, and I think these guys battling flagship to flagship, like HTC has learned, they don't stand a chance. And I don't know if they're having stock issues. I think that's probably part of it, and I think that they've learned how to leverage it. And we're doing the marketing for them, and the demand is kind of also doing the marketing for them. And
Right.
I think that's probably a pretty good step. And there's some other issues, with their parent company of Oppo,
Mhm.
that it's just a mess to get into. And I can't even. Who's to say that these are even going to be in stores anytime soon? I don't think this one will, because they can't get enough.
No, I'm trying to think of, let's say by the holiday, is there a time that you can go to the website and just buy this for $300? And then how, like sooner or later, don't they have to be able to say that they saturated the market of the buyers that would want to go to the website and buy it? I almost see this as like a Google Play device. How many Nexus 5s could they possibly have sold? It was a very popular phone when it came out. It was hard to get. It was sold out all the time. I've bought 3 of them. So but there has to be a limit to how many of these things that they think they can sell, and it's a shame that it's so hard to get them right now. And part of me is afraid that it's going to lose its popularity, because if they don't get caught up by the time the Nexus 6 comes out, or an equivalent, or the Moto X plus one, how do these guys keep going? Sooner or later, aren't people tired of waiting to buy something, and aren't they going to move on and pick up something else? And how will they ever really make a dent in the market? Or is it because of the experience that you're having and a lot of other users are having, that they'll help spread the word, and they'll continue to ship
Well, the
5,000
one
units?
thing they have going for them is, I mean, they're shipping an awesome phone. I mean, hands down, this is a great phone. This is a great slab here. I think it will wear thin soon. They need to step it up. And I'm not so sure if the direct purchase model has really panned out. Uh, is has that ever been good for anybody? I don't think it has. I think you got to be in the stores. I think I've taken this to AT&T stores and Verizon stores, and nobody knows what it is. I thought I was going to be the cool kid on the block, and someone was going to say, "Oh, look, you have one of those OnePlus Ones. You must be important." Um, it might as well have been a freaking Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, most of the chatter is on Twitter, and we know what that group is like. They'll say that someone's parents are on Twitter, but they're not. They're never going to see a tweet about this. They're following Ellen and Oprah and NBC News and Entertainment
Right.
Weekly. So that's the problem there. And even on Facebook, they might occasionally, if someone in their family or a friend of the family, right, repost something about OnePlus One, they might pick it up, but they have no idea, what this phone is or what it does. And again, because of the subsidy model in the U.S., it would be considered too expensive, probably by most consumers, which is crazy to think of. But they apparently have a long-term plan to attack this market and to change the game of the market. They haven't shared what that plan is yet, but apparently they think they could actually make an impact and change things. So sounds like they hit a win here with this first device.
I think a $300 phone, and in the stores, I think they've got a winner. I don't know if they can sustain this, and maybe they're just biding their time for a version 2, and who knows? Maybe they don't even care. Maybe this is a complete non-US play, but remains to be seen.
Hmm.
Maybe we can get sponsored by Tootsie Roll.
Have you taken any pictures yet?
I have.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good
Any?
camera.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I pitted it against a
The crown
Nokia
jewel. Yeah.
Lumia icon. I
Right.
shouldn't say Nokia. It's a Microsoft. I should just say Lumia
All right.
icon. Um,
This is arguably one of the two or three best cameras
so I need to
out there.
throw that out.
Yeah.
So I mean that just it doesn't compare.
But
So
compared to the G2,
compared to the G2, it held its own.
okay.
I feel it needs a little work, and I'm a camera snob because I have kind of been a Lumia fan, but I found that the G2 has been able to. I'm not even going to say get me by, because I wouldn't have anything that could get me by, and that was the reason I went with the G2, is because I played with the camera over everything else in the store.
Right.
Um, I feel it has a good camera. It needs work. It's kind of like that Google camera app. It's good, but it needs polished.
Yeah. And from what I've seen, the camera app they're shipping with has some issues. So I'm hoping they can fix a lot of their issues with software. That the lens is good, the flash is good, the glass is good.
I feel that it is. I think that it definitely doesn't have the light properties that the Lumia has. I think
Mm,
the light properties is on par with the LG. I do have some sample photos. I have not figured out where to post those, because a lot of the podcasts that I do, nobody really wants to hear about this stuff.
right.
Um, I could carry it. Let's put it that way.
So this could be your primary device.
This could be my primary device, but up until today, I was like 10 minutes away from buying the G3, and I read a review on it by happenstance that is making me kind of pause and think maybe I should wait on the G3, and maybe I should just go through the painstaking process of moving over to AT&T and maybe even a Go phone service
Wonderful.
on this. Give it
Well,
a shot. Maybe give it a shot.
yeah, for those who don't know, the G3 has a 1440p screen, also known as a Quad HD. Some of us believe it's a step too far because they did so. It's the same internals as this phone, the OnePlus One, for the most part, but then they up the pixels, right? And I'm just not convinced that they shouldn't have added a faster processor, and that they shouldn't have waited for the applications and the OS to catch up. They're doing something to kind of enhance the quality of the display, which has mixed results. So I think there's just some concerns out there. There's also been some quality discrepancies between the AT&T, the Verizon, and the Sprint models. Of course, it's a brand new technology, right? Samsung is shipping a Quad HD display, but only in Korea. Part of that rumor is that it's because of yields, that they can only get so many of these screens. There is the Oppo Find 7, which has a close relationship with OnePlus One. They have a Quad HD screen that apparently is better than the one that LG is using. So right now it's just a very new area. to go into. So you're definitely an early adopter to go for the LG G3. But of course, it's also has some great software. LG's cleaned up a lot of their issues software-wise. It's got a much better in-hand feel than some of the other phones out there. It has a great camera. We should say that the LG G2 has optical image stabilization, and that's why it gets close to the vicinity of a Lumia phone, because they're known for their optical image stabilization as well as the quality of the glass they use and some other things. Um, but it sounds like if you don't hate this camera, that means to me that it's a good camera. That I would think it's a very good camera. Probably, I'd
Well, you
probably be
know that,
very
yeah.
happy.
Um,
But I know cameras are important to you. I would say they're in the top one or two.
Absolutely,
I'd say.
absolutely. And number one is obviously apps, marketplace. And that's the reason I have so much trouble staying on Windows Phone. Otherwise, I would be perfectly happy. I love the interface, and I don't even know how to get out of.
I feel like I have to come over and we need to hang out, and I need to let you watch me use the phone for a while.
Well, see, that's another issue here. Okay, so I'm in camera,
Okay. Let me switch to your camera there. Okay.
and how do we get out of this?
Pull down from the top.
Well, I did that, and I changed it to aqua.
And see,
Okay,
there's your back button.
okay. What I did is I pulled on the screen,
Right, and that changes the shooting mode,
right? So I
which
needed to do.
which is nice, but I think it just confused you. I think it would confuse me as well.
Which I don't mind. That stuff doesn't make me want to throw it. Um,
And I
I,
like the Google camera. I know you're not a Google camera guy, but I like simple, fast, quick, and easy.
well, I like this because I can one button. You saw me try to change here, but it's just right there. I'm
That's really nice.
recording
Oh, and it
and
starts recording right away too.
yeah,
That's great. So it's one tap video record.
yeah. So it's up there. You have to watch out. There's pano as
Okay.
well, and then there's of course taking a picture. That's going to
If
have a hard time focusing, but
and if you tap on the screen, is that focus or is that picture?
yes, it
Okay.
does.
Excellent. I like that. Yeah, there you go. Autofocus and white balance.
Um, One thing that I liked about this, and I was intrigued about the G3 as well. If you go into settings, like you said earlier, you can uh, you can do all kinds of changes to quality, to size, to burst mode, and see, I don't like. Okay, I already do not like having to swipe to get to my back button. But there's some professional stuff here to get to timer, location, and exposure. And what I'm trying, honestly, I'm trying to find right now is, oh, I know why. Let me show you this.
Poor Dave.
Um, it needs to be in video.
No, that goes back to your camera roll.
Well, look at that. Okay, that was pretty
So
cool.
Dave, switch back to your settings. I'll show you how to get where you wanted to go. Get back to your settings, and now swipe right.
There it is.
Yeah,
Swipe right
yeah,
to video.
yeah.
Um, I've been playing. I have kids,
Mhm.
so they think it's the coolest thing in the world that we can do um, super slow mo, 120 frame per second, and so you can change it to 60 or 120, and obviously it turns the sound off. But it was really cool to watch the kids like squeeze a water balloon over their heads. I filmed that, and you could see the water, moving at 120 frames per second. So if you have kids or you do sports or something, you really have to set it up. It takes a while to get into it, but it really is kind of cool. Time lapse I haven't messed with, but there's a lot of settings. I was very happy with the settings that came with it, and I but what I would probably end up doing is playing around with other camera apps. I can see me doing that pretty easily.
Right. Unfortunately, I don't know how many of them. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't have a whole lot of experience with it because I haven't done it with the G2.
yeah, I think because of some of the API restrictions, you don't get hardware access. I don't
Okay.
think on some of
So
the
Google
apps, but
Camera's probably going to be it.
no, there's more that give you more access. I have a feeling your stock app is going to give you the most access there.
Okay.
Um, Video. Trying to think if there's anything. How's the Wi-Fi reception? Some phones are weaker than others. Any
No
complaints
issues.
there? No. Okay.
No. And I've even just went from Airport Extremes over to Ubiquity, and I found that it's been really really cool. So there's the I wanted to show you that where you could get into some different kinds of
Oh
scenarios,
wow.
sports. It's just tons. Sepia negative.
So the ones that you have selected are the ones that you can scroll through quicker, right? So you don't have to
Yeah.
scroll through all 500. You could
Right. So
just
there's
say these are the five
HDR.
I use. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could take
Wow.
slow shutter. You could move those. And again, this drives me nuts.
Yeah, you better just turn that off now.
Yeah.
It's
I
making
will
me
throw the
nuts
phone
watching
over
you.
that.
Yeah, it's making me
So.
nuts watching you struggle with that. I never should have told you about that option. I think if you use that with the capacitive buttons, uh, you'd be okay. See, I'm just not a big of a camera guy. I have no idea what you're doing right now. I mean, you're doing so much cool
Well,
stuff, but
you really have
uh,
to play with it. It's
yeah,
really camera settings is really fun. So I really enjoy it. So let's go back into there, and then what I need is like this global reset button because when I'm playing with it, I really tend to to goof things up. Countdown timer.
yeah. It's a shame that when you switch modes, it doesn't just clear out whatever you did.
Yeah. So there's I can put it in HDR mode, and you can see it takes a little processing to get that photo,
Yeah,
but
it takes a long time on my devices too. That's actually
yeah.
pretty fast. That's not too bad.
The key is figuring all this out before you're out and about. Definitely. All right, how do I get that off? Interface? No, it's buttons.
No,
Well, I'm just going to go to the hard
it's
buttons.
probably under display,
I'm going to
maybe.
the hard buttons. Boom. They're there.
Yeah, because see there, then you got a nice, not bad experience, but
Yeah. But you don't have expanded desktop.
that way you kind of always see the menu bar instead of having
Yeah.
to have
I'm
that
fine
hidden.
with that.
Oh yeah, no, I think
This is
that
how
looks great.
I roll. Um,
The screen brightness. Are you using auto? Are you manually adjusting it?
I should have put that on auto.
Some
Well,
some
let's go
people
to it. Let's
find
go to it
auto.
a different way.
Okay.
Um, one thing that I wanted to show you, and this may be common in other phones. Um, you get to your drawer over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then there over here,
Is
it's
your setting?
different.
Yep.
There's settings, and that's how I get to my brightness. Look, I'm on um,
You're on auto.
auto,
Good.
but it's set to very. Uh,
Wow.
it will go nuclear,
Yeah.
and auto is set to very.
Do
And
you
you know,
go ahead?
well, you talked about battery, and
Yeah.
this may be part of it that I don't use it outside a lot, except when I was testing the camera. The battery on this thing is honestly unreal. Now I don't use it a lot, but I've used a lot of phones on Wi-Fi and not on cellular service before. I generally have three phones in the house at once, and this has put all of them to shame battery
Yep.
wise. So
Yep. And that's what the reviewers are saying. I mean, instead of trying to make it the thinnest phone they could, which a lot of manufacturers do, and it drives me crazy, they said let's use the screen real estate that we have, and then I think that's why the speakers are better too. There's more room inside for some of the sound to move air, right? So I think they made a lot of wise choices here. Um, do you find the auto brightness is too bright sometimes or too low? Like I'll use my phone and I'll go into a dark room in the house, and sometimes I'll say, "Oh, the auto brightness is just still too bright." Um,
I can't fool it. I was gonna try to hold some sensors. Um,
like,
I
have you
found
been
it.
using it on auto all time?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
good.
found it. I find it's just as hit or miss as any other Android phone.
Okay,
When you need it to perform, sometimes
right.
it messes with you. And as long as you know where it's at and you can get to it, you'll be fine. I like the little drawer thing over here to get to some things, airplane mode. Other phones, it's built into the drawer. It's built in right here.
Yep.
You can get
Now
to
you
it.
seem to have some things built in at the top there. Those are like quick
Yes,
toggles. Yep.
yes, and you can rotate those back and forth. You can see my Wi-Fi's on. I can turn
Sweet.
airplane mode on, Bluetooth on, and also you got the little funky stacked hamburger. That's the clear all, and that's just gonna zap everything.
I was wondering if you were going to clear those.
Yeah, it was
My
getting to
ADD
be a
was
pain.
kicking in. Yeah.
I know. Like, please clean that.
Read those.
Please.
Read those. Get rid of them. It looks great. I mean, every time I watch a video on this phone, I'm really jealous. But
Well, if anybody's watching this video, it's doing zero justice to this phone. Um, it's a gorgeous screen. I mean, it's a gorgeous screen, and I don't know why I'm having such a hard time not buying the G3. Um, Everything tells me I want it, but there's certain things telling me, don't buy it. Just wait. Just wait. So if I was on AT&T, it would be a no-brainer. This would be my phone right now.
right.
But I also know I could probably make a couple $100 on this thing
Oh yeah,
if I just sold it.
it's in great shape. There's no reason not to do that if you're not going to keep it. Do you want to touch base on the themes at all? It's an interesting theme engine that lets you either, and we should be clear, it's not just like theme A or theme B. It's you can pick this feature of theme A, feature of theme B, and
Yeah,
you
there's
can
um
really customize it.
there's a something in here that's kind of new that I've never seen. And go to the home screen, and there's a row of buttons that they're putting on for you, and one's called Audio FX, and it allows you to adjust the audio. I haven't played with it a lot because I'm not an audio nerd. It was loud. I thought it was good. And there's this theme showcase. Now you can do. There's all kinds of different settings in Cyanogen. Let me get out of here. It's wobbling. You can get to this in um, settings as well. Actually, that's different. As you can see, it's so there's themes. It was themes
I think
before.
that's for the themes that you already have installed,
Oh, okay.
as
Yeah, you're
opposed
right.
to
You're
new
right.
themes you want to download.
So
Yeah.
this is the like the shopping thing. Um, yeah, you can actually purchase themes. The only thing that I haven't really found a lot of is where do I get the free ones? And I'm sure it's out there somewhere. But there's an LG G3 theme. It's $2.71, and it'll give you the look of the G3 right there.
Hmm.
So it's called a theme showcase, and it changes. You can see things added to it. There's this Empire. It's weird. It's $1. Some of the icons really don't strike me. It reminds me back Android way back in the day, Android like 2 dot something, where theming and uh, charging for your themes was a big deal.
Right.
And um, I've just been using what's come with it. And there's a couple of cool ones here, and you can play around with all of this stuff. Now back into settings, it allows you to go into themes, and you can look at everything. Of course, wallpapers. The weird thing is you can change boot animations, which I thought was kind of cool.
Huh.
Um, there's some jarring things in this phone where I don't know if it's, I guess, Chinese letters you'll run across, like if it's doing a reboot or a firmware upgrade, it puts, there's some Chinese in there, so it's kind of weird. Um, I guess this is showing you. I can go ahead and change here to this one, and it looks. I don't know if you can tell, but it gives it a more of a. It's got the more traditional Android look here.
Right. Looks like the
And runs you
pre-Jelly
through.
Bean theme.
Yeah, it runs you through everything.
Oh
There's
wow.
the boot animation
Cool
right
boot
there.
animation. Nice.
That one's on here. This
Right.
XO is on here by default.
Is that what you're using now? It looks like it might be what you're
Yeah.
using now. Never settle.
And then this whole low is on here. And I'm sure if I looked hard enough, I could go find some free stuff. But
Yeah, I'm not sure if you just go to the marketplace, the Play Store, and search themes. I think just having this theme engine installed means that they're probably compatible with your
oh
system.
crap! I just set the wallpaper. Something I don't ever like to do is live wallpapers, and I just set that.
Is that live? Yeah.
I set it to grass for some reason. I don't know why. So now
Ooh, nice.
I don't know why I did that. But again, I tinker with this phone all day long. So I'm gonna reset it as this and wallpapers. Bam. Apply it, and I'm right back.
Nice.
So it can be learned, people. It can be learned. I know that I'm still learning, but and I'm probably not the best phone reviewer. I don't get into the horsepower, and I like the fact that it's got an up to date CPU. It's got 3 gigs of RAM. It's got 64 gig on board, which makes me very happy since there's not an SD card slot, and that is the only other thing I think that it's missing to jump up to G3 and GS5.
Yeah, it's really interesting considering their target market. They didn't put that in. There's nothing that Android uh, power users love more than their SD cards and their removable batteries. The removable battery, I think, I certainly don't see it as a necessity. And as you mentioned, how great the battery life is. Part of that is because it's a sealed battery, but that next model is going to have an SD card because there's now I think that's why they give you the 64 gigabyte for only $50 more as well. But I mean, I'd be more than happy with 64 gigabytes. I only use more than 16 because I like to keep my music and my podcast loaded in case I'm in an area with poor
Mm-hmm.
uh, reception. But other than that, I mean, it has almost every feature a power user would want. It doesn't have wireless charging, which I'd be whatever. But there are ways of adding it. I'll just say that they are out there. So if you really want to add it, if I pick this phone up, I would definitely use one of these ways that you can add it to it. So, but then again, the battery lasts so long, you might not be charging this phone very often. So,
Yeah, but it's nice to have if you want to put it in a holder in a
yeah,
car with a little chi action going on.
yeah, yeah. And whenever I talk about wireless charging, I mean she, not PMA.
Right. And that was something that draws me towards the G3,
Mm,
but you have to add that with the little flip back
yep.
case.
hmm Quick,
So,
the quick view circle case, something like that.
which also kind of troubles me because I want to be able to mount that in the car,
Yep.
and I'm sure more backs are going to come out that you can add to it. But
I'm the same place as you. I want to add Qi, but I don't want to add that front cover. I had one on an LG G Pro that I had once, and I liked it. It was new. It was unique. It was my first phablet. It was a 5.5-inch phone. I felt like I needed to protect it, and of course, this was like Gorilla Glass 1, type
mhm,
glass. So,
right.
but nowadays, I just want to pull that out of my pocket and go. I want to mount it in the car. I want a quick access to podcast. There's rumors that Android Car or Android Auto, when it comes out, you don't won't necessarily have to have a car with Android Auto. Your phone can run in this auto mode. So if you could get a nice car mount for your phone, you can get the same experience that Android Auto owners will have. So I really like having quick access to my phone from within the car.
Conversational review, I would say.
Yeah.
Conversational review.
Good. Anything else?
I don't think so.
No. Well, I'm jealous. Congratulations again for being picked to purchase, and you may or may not have the opportunity to invite others to purchase one day. So
I hope I do. I hope I
we'll
get the
see.
invites. I would like to do some things with it. As a podcaster, I think it would
Yep.
be neat to do some promotion with the invites, not sell them, but
No.
yeah. So
Cool.
I like that. We'll call that a conversational review.
Yeah.
Hour and 15 minutes.
Well, thanks for taking the time to show it off, Dave.
All right. See you later. Thanks, YouTube. I'm going to hit stop broadcast. Thanks for hanging around. I know it was a long hour and 15 minutes. It was conversational review.
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of a non-podcast podcast. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Go to bed. We'll watch chat a little bit, though. See ya.